and we're back again with Book Club number 8 with The Primal Hunter by Zogarth. Besides being a relatively interesting name, hopefully we'll just get into the synopsis and go from there. On just another normal Monday, the world changed. The universe had reached a threshold humanity didn't even know existed, and it was time to finally be integrated into the vast multiverse. A world where power is the only thing that one can truly rely on. Jake, a seemingly average office worker, finds himself thrust into this world. Into a tutorial filled with dangers and opportunities. In a world that should breed fear and concern, an environment that makes his fellow co-workers falter, Jake instead finds himself thriving. Perhaps Jake was born for this kind of world to begin with. Release schedule is 5 chapters a week, average chapter length is 2,500 words. Tags and content warnings are mainly to give a creative freedom later on. This is his first novel ever, and English isn't his native language. Once again, his feedback is welcome. To be perfectly honest, I've read all of these, and I've also read some of to his advanced patron. At no point did English not being his first language ever really come up for me. Especially with writers who English isn't their first language. One of the major failings we see or mistakes that are made is this difficulty with his and her pronouns and using them to delineate certain characters. Very often those get mixed up or they get ignored entirely. So far, this hasn't been a big issue with Zogarth here. Also, leading into that, Zogarth doesn't seem to have a lot of dialogue. His character is relatively secluded, doesn't really interact with others. But as we're recording this, I think I've missed like one released on Royal Road here. But he has 119 chapters, with I think upwards of 30 to 40 more on his Patreon. It updates Monday to Friday, weekends are off. Incredibly demanding schedule. So far, he's done a really good job of maintaining it. How long he keeps that up, though, has been up for debate. The story has been in development for just under half a year now, so hopefully he keeps up with it. His story does a great job in the synopsis. We get a relatively comprehensive view of what we're getting into. There are some novels here on Roll Road which are very similar, and there are numerous system initialization scenarios where they do very, very well, especially in the early portions, which currently I think Zogarth has just finished that arc, but they miserably fall apart in the second arc or out of the tutorial phase. Hopefully, and I'm really banking on it, he does a really good job of it, and we still see that same continuation. We don't see a complete collapse of the tutorial phase. It was done really well. The next arc is just broken because the universe expands way too rapidly for him to keep up. All signs point to that not being the case for this one, but until we get to that, I can't give any guarantees. Other than that, world building, for the most part, you're trapped in this relatively bland area, and it's just his interactions with challenges that appear. Honestly, there's no antagonist that's like the big bad. Like, we don't have any major antagonist who's gunning for the hero. We have no demon lords to hunt down. We have no aliens are invading. This is much more a natural phenomenon has happened. It's very protagonist versus the world or versus the environment. Though we do have this direction which makes up for that. The character is very driven, or he turns to be very driven into gaining power or doing things or fighting and creating those challenges, which I think makes up for the lack of any kind of antagonist that we really see. Sadly enough, though, due to the fact that the character is very self-reliant and self-driven, there are very few secondary characters of supporting cast. They do exist, but they're very minor. They're very quickly glossed over, which is a real shame because Jace as a character is really well written. He's very interesting. He's very rounded out. So I highly recommend this. If you are interested in system or lit RPG game-like kind of scenarios, this is a great one to start into. It's relatively easy to read, and you really get a feel of his world as he goes along with it. Also, there's quite a large amount of stuff to read, so you're definitely stuck in for a while. Well, this is Book Club number 8, and I'm going to sign off. Leave a like if you'd be so kind, and have a wonderful day, guys.